Hello, my dear friends. How are you? Welcome to the Talentrix channel. Talentrix, we driven to explore talents from students in podcast industry. Do listen our audio-visual blogs in Kannada, English, and in Hindi. Do subscribe and press the bell button for regular updates. My dear friends, do you all know about irrigation in our farming system? It is about 5000 years old farming system. I will say nothing about this today because Preksha prepared to say about it. Let's see what Preksha has to say about this in our video today.
Hey guys, I'm Preksha Dharwad from Govt Adarsha Vidyalaya, Dharwad. Well, we all need food, right? Food crops are grown in a field. But to grow the food crops, there are some agricultural practices. And today, we are learning one among them, that is irrigation. So, according to you all, what is irrigation? Yes, irrigation is the supply of water to the crops at regular intervals. Irrigation is the practice of applying controlled amount of water to land to help to grow crops, landscape plants, and lawns. Irrigation has been a key aspect of agriculture for over 5000 years and has been developed by many cultures around the world as well. There are modern as well as traditional methods of irrigation. Traditional methods are moat, chain pump, dhekli and rahat, and modern methods are sprinkler system and drip irrigation system. Now, let's learn deeply about these methods one by one. First, let's learn about moat. This method is also called as pulley system because we draw water from sources using a pulley. It is made up of a rope as well as a pulley. A bucket is linked to one end of the rope and the other end of the rope is pulled by animals to draw out the water. Now let's learn about chain pump. A chain pump consists of two large wheels connected by an endless chain. The bottom half is immersed in the water source. As the wheel is turned, the connected buckets dip into the pool and pick up the water. The chain then lifts them to the upper wheel where the water from buckets is transferred to other pool. The chain then carries the empty bucket down to be refilled and the process continues. It's time to learn about dhekli. It is one of the traditional methods of irrigation. It is mainly seen in rural areas. It is done through manually, meaning humans have to do it. Nothing is used in this rather than a bucket. The person had to take out the water through the bucket and pour it in the field. This causes a lot of water wastage, time wastage, as well as more labor is needed. Because of water scarcity, the farmers are not using this method. The last traditional method is rahat. This is a method of irrigation which requires a large well in which a wheel is used. The wheel is turned by the oxen, buffaloes or cows to get the water out of the well and spread over onto the crops. It is cheap but not an efficient method of irrigation to use. Now let's see the modern methods. Sprinkler system is an easy and simple method of irrigation. Water is provided by sprinkling water droplets similar to rain through the pipes or rotating nozzles onto crop. Any loss of water is avoided in this system. The problem of water logging is not present in this system. Another method is drip irrigation. Water flows through narrow pipes laid on the fields and drips through small holes directly at the place of plant roots. Roots absorb the water and nourish the plant. There is no wastage of water while using this method, as less water is lost to evaporation, runoff and wind, which is why farmers use this method nowadays. Yes, there are many more methods beside these mentioned. I have a question. Do you all know who invented this irrigation? Irrigation has at least 8,000 years of history, but it was originated in Egypt and Mesopotamia in 6000 BC, fighting against the flooding of the Nile for several months a year. Ancient civilizations pioneered a technique to divert the flooded water to nearby crop fields, thereby utilizing the excess flood water for crops that would otherwise be difficult to grow due to lack of resources. But we are still not clear about the person, right? It is Firoz Shah Tughlaq who widely spread the irrigation system in India in the medieval period. He built the most extensive canal irrigation system around the Indo-Gangetic Doab and the region west of the river Yamuna in the 14th century. Now let's glance at transport system of irrigation. The type of transport system used for an irrigation project is often determined by the source of the water supply. It is a surface water used. A large canal or pipeline system is usually required to carry the water to the farms because the reservoir is likely to be distant from the point of use. If subsurface water was drawn from the well is used, a much smaller transport system is needed, though canals or pipelines may be used. The transport system will depend as far as possible on gravity flow, supplemented if necessary by pumping. From the mains, water flows into the branches or laterals and finally to distributors that serve the group of farms. And auxiliary structures are required, including weirs, sluices, and other types of dams. Canals are normally lined with concrete to prevent seepage losses, control weed growth, eliminate erosion hazards, and reduce maintenance. And the most common type of concrete canal construction is by slip forming. In this type of construction, the canal is excavated to the exact cross section desired and the concrete is placed on the earth sides and bottom. At last, let's see the water application. After the water reaches the farm, it may be applied by surface, subsurface or sprinkler irrigation method. Surface irrigation is normally used only where the land is graded so that uniform slopes exist. Land grading is not necessary for other methods except for surface irrigation. Each method includes several variations where only the more common of which are considered. There is also a less common irrigation method, which is that it is sub-irrigation. Sub-irrigation is a less common method. An impermeable layer must be located below but near the root zone of the crop so that the water put on the crops is trapped in the root zone. If this condition exists, water is applied to the soil through tile drains or ditches. And by saying these words, I hope we know that there are so many methods, so many transport systems and so many water applications in irrigation. Our farmers use all of these just to feed us, so let's respect them. By saying these words, I'd like to conclude my words on irrigation. Thank you.
My dear friends, I hope you all are like today's video. For more updates, please visit www.talentrix.co.in. Thank you.